Norwegian riders, Anglo-Saxon, has become more important in cycling. You know, and I have a race team, and so I think English is more and more common. You know, and it's pretty hard because these Italians and Spanish people and French, they don't speak English so good. So they have to learn, as well as I had to learn Italian, French, and German, and so on at that time.
Mm-hmm. Related to the previous question, where are you on the whole race radio debate and communication?
Well, I mean, communication is one of the values of my team. Of course, it is important, you know. And it's a crazy debate, actually. And unfortunately, those people who sit and actually decide these things have probably never been sitting in a race car. You know? But they make decisions for cycling that they shouldn't. There's a lot of issues about these things, you know. It's not just safety. Safety is just a part of it, but if you, those of you who ride your bike here, you know, these roads out here, and imagine you're sitting in a big peloton. It's crazy. You know? Can you talk to your riders and tell them the obstacles that will come? You know? Very often, actually, the race radio, the radio tour from the organizers in the races, they call the teams and they say, can you please advise your riders that an ambulance is coming one way or the other, or a horse is on the road, or dangerous corners, or oil on the road, whatever. And sometimes we're sitting there in a race and we don't have a radio. And how should we be able to communicate that? You know, and if they suddenly want to have all the cars joining the peloton at the same time, all the sports directors, they want to be in the middle of the peloton because they want to speak to the riders. It doesn't work. You know? So, plus, another thing is that I think today cycling is a business. You know? There's a lot of investment in cycling, and the sponsors pay a lot of money for their investments. And if I'm going to lose the tour with my team because of a silly thing, of a puncture on the wrong moment, and I'm not able to communicate, and they cannot communicate with me, so I can be there in time to change or whatever, everything can be lost in a second. And cycling is not what it has been for 20, 30 years ago, definitely not. And a lot of these people, unfortunately, they think it's the same, but it's not. It's changed. It's modern cycling, you know, like all the fancy bikes we see today, you know. A lot of these bikes you see in shops today, you cannot even see them on the peloton because they're not allowed. Some of these equipment over here, I was just looking at this before, handlebar over here, a beautiful handlebar actually, that I think I have an influence on when it was developed some years ago. It's not allowed. And everybody out there can ride it, you know. I have an opinion that if it has to be limits, of course, but if it's safe and it runs through the safety regulations, what important is the weight then? We have all the bikes where we have to put rise in the tubes, the tubes. You said that, no? In the frame to make it in the right way. We're not doing anything, but it's safe.
What's your view on Chaingate in the 2010 Tour? And do you think that Andy Schlepp was stronger than Contador on the road that year?
Well, my work became second. And normally the strongest win.
So when did you see yourself as a GC rider? Because I think in 91 you were winning stages, and then 93, 94, 95 you were challenging for the overall. What changed?
Well, I've become better, you know.
But how? I mean, what sort of changed in your approach?
Definitely, I trained differently. I lost several kilos. This is important. If you want to do GC in the mountains, you need to be very light and skinny. And I lost 3 or 4 kilos. And that made a big change for me. I got older, stronger. After riding with Fignon all these years, I became a lot stronger. And then, got a little help.
Would you say that is the only, I mean, it was only later on that you took EPO, the previous years that you were challenging? Was that just the final nudge that you to get you over the line?
Definitely helped me. Can't tell you. I don't know how good I was been without. Can't go back.
You got to the weight, what was your weight when you won sort of times?
67 kilos. Not so much.
Now, if you are somewhere like 15 minutes and below your ideal weight, so that's quite good.
Yeah. What I think about it, I don't know that, you know. But I was skinny.
What's your favourite climb that you've climbed? You know, say in France, only because they're the mountains that I kind of know.
I hate all the climbs.
There was
They hurt. The one I absolutely don't like is Mt Ventoux, because once in 94 I lost 15 minutes.
At what stage? So I've cycled every, not fast, but I've cycled every route into the sort of Ventoux. And they talk of the forest area being the toughest. Having cycled other parts, I still find when you suddenly see Ventoux going to what feels like the moon, that, for me, was the killing part of the last 6K, give or take.
Well, running up that climb, you feel like in the forest, in the beginning, the first 10 Ks, it's definitely the hardest. And then you come up on the moon, you say, and then you run out of oxygen. It's just harder. But I think the first part is the hardest. It's the steepest, definitely.
We saw the footage of the team car from last year's Tour of Flanders. It looked very exciting. I think always won. What would you describe as the most exciting part of your career as a DS?
That was one of them. That was a good day. I think I've had many good days. You know, over the last 10 years I've had a lot of fantastic riders and great moments, and yeah, just enjoy those big athletes perform. So it's quite a few just sitting here thinking about it. You know, I mean, it can be a Liège for some years when Hamilton won, because the day before I set the tactic for the whole team, and we did it. Every single rider, you know, when you can do that. When we, a few years ago, when we did a great work in the Pyrenees with Frank and Andy and Fabian and Scott and Rob, everybody on Tourmalet. Tourmalet. That was a great day too. We didn't win, but we dropped a lot of comrades. You know, days like this. Flanders just last year, you know. The wins with Fabian, you know, being behind him is a great pleasure. You know, being behind him in a time trial is something very, very special. You know, because he has, everybody knows his talent, but it's art when you look at him and his technique, you know, not just in the corners, but the way he writes. It's fantastic to see. Alberto, see him flying over the climbs, and it's amazing.
Not a bad career as a PS then.
Sorry,
Not a bad career as a PS then.
it's okay.
It's been